Good morning. It's Donna from Simply Living Wellness, and yesterday I showed you about some of the food prep that I do on Sundays to get ready for the week. So I have healthy food all week long, and today, this morning, it's Monday morning, I'm heading to work, and I want to show you how I assemble some of that food. So this is my broth that's simmering, and like I said yesterday, I pretty much have bone broth, and I prefer chicken over beef. I have it pretty much going all the time in the crock pot, and so then I pull the broth out of the crock pot into these mason jars, and I keep them in the fridge, and they last, you know, at least a week in there. That floating on the top is the chicken fat, and you want to use that. It's really healthy. And then in the morning, I pull broth out of this big mason jar. I put it in my pot, and then I add seasonings. I always use fresh turmeric, fresh meaning it is powdered, it's ground turmeric, but I try to not buy too many spices at once, and I get them bulk at our health food store because they're really fresh that way, and I'm telling you, it makes a big difference in how it tastes. So I get turmeric in there. I have onion powder. That's really tasty because it's fresh, but my onion powder always clumps up like that. If anybody knows any tricks from keeping your onion powder to harden and clump up, I would love if you share that for me in the comments below. I have a little seasoning mix that I made. It has paprika and some different kinds of salts. Black salt, Himalayan salt, don't remember exactly all that's in there, and I use fresh cumin, it's ground cumin, ground garlic powder, and again, the garlic powder, if you buy it fresh at a bulk section in a health food store, for example, it just tastes so much better than just buying a little bottle off the shelf in the grocery store. It's just so much fresher. And then there's this little kind of a pepper mix that I put a little of that in. I put some of these dried mushrooms in. And then these are the veggies that I made yesterday, the cabbages and the Brussels sprouts. And if you missed that, then go look at Simply Living Wellness on Facebook, and you can see my live that I did yesterday. And then this is chicken that I took off a carcass, and I just have it in this little jar, and so I put some of that in there as well. And then I have a little bit of sweet potato that I already roasted yesterday, and I just keep this chunk in my fridge, and I'll slice off 2 slices only and then cube them, and I'll put that actually in with the vegetables, and I'll assemble the vegetables and the broth when I'm at work. The broth will stay very hot because I have a thermos that works really well, and I'll share that with you. They don't all work that great, but this one keeps it very hot. So I assemble the broth with the veggies that will have the sweet potatoes in it. The chicken I already put in the broth. You can put it all in the broth, but I don't like my veggies to get real soggy, especially the sweet potato, so I tend to assemble that when I'm at work for lunch. And I just wanted to point out this roasted chicken because I get these often because it's just so handy. When you're working and if you have kids, it's really nice to know tips to cut corners and be able to prepare good food fast. So I tend to keep one of these in the fridge. I don't let it go longer than about 5 days in the fridge, max 5 days, and then I'll freeze it. I'll decarcass it and put it in jars and freeze it. Always better to use glass than plastic, by the way. Of course, that comes in plastic, but anyway, you can't always avoid it. This chicken is not just your standard roasted chicken from like Safeway. It is from my health food store, so it is locally grown, fairly local. It's not from my town, but It's organic, non-GMO, free range, humanely raised. It's the only kind of meat I'll eat nowadays. So there you go. That is gonna be my lunch, and it really is pretty quick to pull this together because the broth's already made, the veggies are already made, everything's ready to go. I just heat the broth with the seasonings and put it in the thermos, and my jars are ready to go. So I hope that helped. Have a blessed day, and we'll see you on another live.